Hi there, that's right, it's Nick Dutch back on the camera again one more time, appearing to you in divine and wonderful widescreen today, just for the heck of it. And this is yet another one of my continuing series of, people are sending me private messages saying, like, give me an answer to this, let's try and get some, perspective on what's happening here, and so on and so forth, and I just give you my answers, and if you like them, great. Had loads of comments on my videos recently. I can't always get to all of them because they've been, really streaming in, because, this channel is becoming, quite popular now, which is obviously, yeah, so big thank you. It's you people out there that makes this channel what it is, and all the rest of that kind of jazz. Couldn't do it without you. I love every single one of you. But on with the subject of the video today. Here we go. Sometimes I read out people's channel names, sometimes I don't. Today I'm not going to. It doesn't mean anything either way. Okay, relax about that, alright? It says here, what are your impressions regarding the results of group work and solitary work, specifically in doing spell work dedicated to making real, if not direct, changes in the physical? In my experience, groups can manifest absolutely huge levels of mana, energy, whatever you want to call it. I've gotten much better results from solitary work though. Have had some ideas as to why, but I'd like some input from other like-minded magicians. Okay, well, the first thing I will say is I tend to regard myself as an experimental occultist, and there's reasons why I do my weird stuff by myself, usually. Although there is always a bit of a group component to everything, as I'm sure you know, I'm still an experimental occultist. The tone of my videos hasn't really changed all that much, but I have been going to church recently. And that, as far as I'm concerned, is just yet another form of ceremony, meditation, and all the rest of that kind of stuff. I've been in Wiccan covens, I've been in occult groups, practicing magical groups for the purposes of learning about what they think is going on and trying to fathom my own way. When it comes to an individual doing some form of practical experimental occultism, the only psychological force which needs to be controlled is that of the singular individual who is doing the weird stuff. That's it. Nobody else, just that one individual. So essentially, it would be a lot easier than having half a dozen people together and all of them have a different idea as to what they're doing, how they should be doing it, what kind of results they want. And you might get the occasional little cheeky person in the group who will try and throw a spanner into the works just to see what happens. Unless the activity is still specific, but there's some vagueness to it, okay? It's sort of more gentle, like a whole group of people praying for a person to get well is one thing, but a whole group of people doing a ritual to hope that a person's left leg will get better could be something else, because there might be one individual who might think, well, I'm a great occultist, maybe I could break the other leg, or maybe I can make it worse because I don't like that person. And as such, it can become a little more difficult. The atmosphere when you're doing that in a group of people can sometimes subtly feel not the way it should. It's very difficult to describe the feeling. It's if everyone is of the same hypothetical standpoint, or faith in some cases, depending upon the group in question, and they all accept the same ideas in the same way, and they're doing it all for the same reasons as defined by their own group think, I doubt whether you'll have all that much in the way of problems. And yes, I do think that under some circumstances you can feel a difference, quite a positive difference, if everyone is of accord, shall we say. But if they're not, it just won't feel right, and I don't think you can get any variety of results. Group activities, and all I'm doing here is telling you about my personal experiences, basically, in the way they seem to be. Whatever the hard and fast truth of this is, we shall never know. All we can do is speak about these strange experiences and try and describe and define them, okay? For something that requires something of a a spiritualist effect. Group activity is cool, because then there's always a touch of apprehension, fear, paranoia, excitement, or just that undescribable, oh my word, what's going to happen next, which is in the air. It's a change of emotional state, and therefore a change of body and brain chemistry amongst everybody there. And it can, again, feel different, and it appears more likely that the individuals will have that kind of like awareness to things which might hypothetically be there, or not, as the case may be. But there's this feeling of, oh my word, something else is out there. So everyone's intention and attention is focused more upon the same sorts of thing. And that's when I think it's more interesting to do spiritualist type stuff. Namely, attempted communication with alleged supernatural beings such as angels, archangels, ghosts, spirits, demons, and all that kind of stuff. But again, you still got to try and make sure that it's in keeping with the group theology or the group views, and not just the views of one particular individual. So I think that there's probably strengths and weaknesses to both, and I don't think you can ever get it hard and fast, bang on. But if what both Dean Radin as well as Peter J. Carroll was talking about, namely it's the intention and attention which will help to make things happen, then the solitary practitioner with lots of things about them which can help them to hold their mind on a subject, such as, I don't know, the right colour of altar cloths, whatever they personally think is the right colour of altar cloth, or the right colour of candles, whatever they personally think is the right colour of candles, and the right words and mantra, whatever they personally think is the right mantra, and so on and so forth. Because if you've only got one mind to influence, the likelihood of you getting that mind brought about into a state of gnosis, into that singular state of intimate connection with a concept, in a focused hemispheric synchronization type state of mind, is so much more likely to occur than if you got a little more chaos brought about by a few too many other people there. That's my impression. I will also point out that all of my attitudes, no matter whether you're doing something in a group or whether you're doing something individually, from my point of view remains the same, and this is about strange experiences, and this is not about turning around and saying, yes, there really was a demon there, the demon was real. It's more about saying there was a strange experience which our culture defined as being the presence of, let's say, a spirit, and therefore it had certain characteristics in terms of something you see, or something you hear, or something you feel, or whatever it is. It's a culturally defined strange experience, but it can be had, and then things start to get really weird and trippy and very confusing when we start thinking about how it seems to affect other people's minds at a distance, and people who weren't aware of the actual ritual or prayer or meditation or whatever the fuck it is you're doing. And then you start thinking, okay, there's some kind of interconnectivity of minds going here, at least, and maybe there's something bigger, more spooky, stranger, which is also happening. Alright, but we can't say what that is. We can hypothesize until the cows come home, we're blue in the face, whatever. But strange stuff just seems to happen, and it's weird. And that's not it's not the first time I've said that on this here YouTube channel. So, good fortune, God and or Goddess and or none of the above bless, or whatever, and I'll speak to you again when I turn the camera on next.